Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to focus on news that you probably know by now, which is that John Steenhuisen will be removed as the Minister of Agriculture. This comes after his party leader Geordin Hill-Lewis approached Cyril Ramaphosa and asked for a string of changes from the DA's side as to ministers and deputy ministers. But all I can say has been a terrible year for John Steenhuisen, because when the year started, he was the leader of the Democratic Alliance, he was the Minister of Agriculture, and now he's none of those. And all of this is because of him. Now, let's put party politics aside for a second, shall we? Whether you are a DA supporter, a Freedom Front Plus supporter, ANC, EFF, whatever. Let's just look at the facts. John Steenhuisen has been a terrible Minister of Agriculture because firstly, he didn't listen to the farmers. He was arrogant. He listened to his administration rather than to the actual farmers on the ground. And he had a very combative way of dealing with things, thinking that he knows more than what the farmers know. His admin staff in his office treating farmers like filth. And ultimately, this was just going to be a matter of time before he was going to be asked to step down, because he's doing a lot of damage to the DA brand, because the DA relies very much on the support of farmers, and I think that they lost that support late last year already. So ultimately, we are now in this position where Geordin Hill-Lewis has stepped in, where previously Geordin said that he won't stand against John Steenhuisen as the leader of the party, and then John decided that he was not going to stand for the leader again, and that opened the door for Geordin Hill-Lewis because they consider each other friends. But now, as the leader, he had to make the difficult decision to get rid of John Steenhuisen because of the damage that John Steenhuisen is not only doing to the country through being the Minister of Agriculture, but also the damage that he's doing to the Democratic Alliance. Now, I'm 100% convinced also that Yana Leroux, his Chief of Staff, will be fired because I believe that the Minister is the one that decides who their Chief of Staff is. And ultimately, I think the reason why all of this happened, the straw that broke the camel's back, was Yana Leroux's statements and the fact that it distracted from the work of the department. And ultimately, because of arrogance, incompetence, refusing to listen to the farmers, fighting the farmers, this is a decision that is the right decision. So I will give credit where it's due. Well done to Geordin Hill-Lewis for making the tough calls, considering that he is a friend of yours. Of course, the irony out of all of this is that Deon George was removed out of his ministerial position for forestry and fisheries, and Willie Oukamp replaced him at the behest or at the decision by John Steenhuisen. And here we are now with John Steenhuisen being removed out of his ministerial role, and Willie Oukamp is replacing him. Now, Willie Oukamp is a farmer, and I will always say, give somebody a chance and let them prove themselves. Don't just automatically be positive or negative. Be neutral and let them prove themselves. So I'm hopeful for the sake of agriculture in South Africa, and to an extent also for the reputation of the DA, that Willie Oukamp will be doing the job and actually listening to farmers and the organizations and not fighting them and taking them to court as John Steenhuisen did. But ultimately, just to confirm that I'm not spreading fake news, even though you already know it, let's have a look at what Newsday had to say with regards to this. So Newsday decided to go with the headline, "Goodbye, John Steenhuisen." Sounds like they're a little bit happy there, but yeah. Anyway, it says here, Democratic Alliance leader Geordin Hill-Lewis has reportedly asked President Cyril Ramaphosa to remove John Steenhuisen as Minister of Agriculture. According to a Bloomberg report citing report, he asked that Steenhuisen be moved to the role of Deputy Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition. And I'll get into that after I've read this article. Willie Oukamp, the current Minister for Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, would succeed John Steenhuisen, Bloomberg reported. President Cyril Ramaphosa appointed John Steenhuisen as South Africa's Minister of Agriculture on the 3rd of July 2024. So pretty much just under 2 years he lasted as the Minister of Agriculture. This position formed part of the negotiations which ultimately created the country's government of national unity. Steenhuisen has been a liability for the DA, with one debacle after the next hitting his department. Since taking office as the Minister of Agriculture, he has faced several high-profile controversies, administrative problems, and legal challenges. The ongoing management of a severe foot-and-mouth disease outbreak has drawn immense criticism from the agricultural sector. Steenhuisen's department has been widely criticized for maintaining exclusive state control over vaccine distribution. It has prohibited private sector livestock groups and veterinarians from independently procuring and administering vaccines to speed up the process. In a legal battle around the issue, livestock farmers represented by the South African Agri Initiative, known as SAI, won a High Court order against Steenhuisen. The court ruled that the minister and his department had unlawfully prohibited farmers from vaccinating their own cattle. To add fuel to the fire, Steenhuisen's office faced intense public backlash after an internal email was leaked on social media this month. It goes on and on, but you pretty much get the picture. Like I said, I think regardless of party politics, I think that people in the DA are happy, people in other political parties are happy because John just didn't do the job. But that's the problem now. He wasn't good as a minister. In actual fact, I would argue that he was one of the worst performing ministers in the executive, and that includes ANC ministers and other ministers. And now he gets rewarded with a deputy minister position in trade, industry, and competition. How is that not cadre deployment? How is that not doing exactly what the ANC does when there's a lot of heat on one of their ministers or deputy ministers? They just get moved into another position. Based off of John Steenhuisen's track record outside of the DA with his private issues, and also as a minister, I don't think that he deserves to become a deputy minister. So the DA is showing a lot of hallmarks here of the ANC by just moving their cadre from one position to the next. And I think if the DA was honest with themselves and spoke to their councillors, MPs and MPLs on whether or not John should be rewarded with that terrible work that he did as the Minister of Agriculture to now be the Deputy Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition. I mean, I think that is actually the bigger news story here, is that after the train wreck that was John Steenhuisen in the Agricultural Ministry, to now put him in Trade, Industry and Competition as a Deputy Minister, that doesn't look well. I'm sorry, it doesn't play well. And to me, at least, it looks like the DA is just trying to keep John Steenhuisen happy at the cost of the country. Because we have now seen that John can't really do the job of a minister. And I highly doubt that he'll be able to do the job of a deputy minister. But yet, Geordin Hill-Lewis, who is the leader of the DA, thinks that he'll be able to do a good job. Time will tell. I think, though, that he's moved him into a ministry where there's not a lot of attention, especially on the deputy minister, so he can just work in the shadows. But I think that this is, broadly speaking, an arrangement that they made with John initially. Now, I don't have any evidence for this, but to me, this tracks as somebody that worked in the party and saw this play out. So I believe that John said that he will step down as the leader and not try and run for another term on condition that he remains the Minister of Agriculture. And however, because this has been such a train wreck, I think the DA approached him and said, listen, we can't go on like this. And I think that he agreed to it to an extent, but he then said, okay, I understand that there's a lot of havoc here and I'm not doing a great job, but please consider moving me to a deputy minister position. And I think the party went, okay, it's the best option out of a lot of bad and terrible options. So I believe that that's what they did. But ultimately, this is a victory for South Africa. And, you know, I can sit here and say I wish that they kept him on as the minister because he was doing a lot of damage to the DA's branding. But South Africa needs to come first. And this was the right call by Geordin Hill-Lewis. Ultimately, the minister that really didn't care too much about agriculture and didn't really know anything about agriculture has now been removed. So this is a massive victory for South Africa. In the same way that we used to celebrate when useless ANC ministers were removed from their positions. And now we have seen it through the DA as well. I do believe, though, that this is going to do a lot of damage in the long term, because the DA for the longest time used to campaign, where we govern better than anybody else. Yeah. And John Steenhuisen literally just blew a massive hole in that argument of yours, because as the minister and as the leader, the spotlight was on him, and he just showed that he could arguably be the worst minister in the executive. If you compare that to somebody like Dr. Pieter Groenewald, who's shooting the lights out in his ministry, I think you can see a comparison here. So even for the elections, I think that this won't play out well for the DA. Of course, this is damage control. This is them trying to save face before the election, and rightfully so. I think any political party would do so. I don't think they should be criticized for doing it. At least they're doing something. But ultimately, this is a massive egg on the face of John Steenhuisen, who in the beginning of the year was the leader of the DA and a minister, and now he is none of those things. And also the fact that they've committed and said that where the DA governs, we govern better than anybody. Also clearly not the case. So let me know your thoughts. I'd like to know what your thoughts are. I also know that a lot of people asked whether Yana Leroux will lose her position. And from my understanding, the staff, especially the chief of staff, serves at the behest of the minister. So I think that she's also gone. She is damaged goods after the things that she said. So I highly doubt that Willie Oukamp will keep her as the chief of staff. I think that her career with the DA has come to an end after the things that she's said about farmers. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. That's pretty much all I got to say. Please be sure to smash that like button, share this video far and wide. Don't forget to subscribe. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything. However, if you'd like to contribute financially to this channel, you can do so by giving a super thanks. And the way you do that is look for the $ below, and then you can choose an amount and submit it. Or you can become a member to this channel. That'll cost you 46 Rand a month, and that is to support me and this channel, and you get perks, and you can check it out by clicking the join button below. And that's all I got to say, everybody. Till later, cheers, and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre.